Donald Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, has lawyers because he's likely getting indicted. And he, through his lawyers, has communicated with Donald Trump's legal team. And Flynn's lawyers are saying, hey, you know what? We can no longer discuss the Robert Mueller investigation with you any longer. And this could be a potentially major story, a major wrinkle in the Trump Russia investigation that Robert Mueller is currently involved in as special prosecutor. Few possibilities about what this means. The most interesting and likely and compelling possibility is that Michael Flynn is now what is described as fully cooperating with prosecutors, Robert Mueller's investigators and prosecutors, and that Michael Flynn's lawyers are trying to work out a deal for Michael Flynn that would include talking about what insiders up to and including Donald Trump may have done in the lead up to the election of Donald Trump and possibly even after. Previously, Michael Flynn's lawyers had been sharing information with Donald Trump's lawyers, and they had this sort of agreement that they would share information, and that agreement is now over. And this could either represent or signal a huge advancement in the reach of Robert Mueller's investigation into Trump-Russia collusion. The possible charges against Michael Flynn are very wide-ranging, and multiple legal experts are expecting a Michael Flynn indictment anytime. But Flynn is still a figure in this that, depending on the degree of his cooperation, could set off just a major domino effect of really big indictments very, very close to the Trump White House. And when you look at the circumstances of Michael Flynn, you realize from the point of view of a prosecutor how ripe Flynn is for being leveraged, might be a word that's used. Flipped might be another word that's used. Flynn was, remember, operating as an unregistered foreign agent and working for Donald Trump's White House. And Michael Flynn's own son is now being considered vulnerable to indictment, which if Flynn is a normal person, he would want to do whatever he can to help his son avoid getting indicted on criminal charges. And I was reading on some right-wing forums yesterday, people online saying, what a tough situation Michael Flynn must be in. Do you stay loyal to the great Trump or do you stay loyal to your family? If Flynn is a normal person, this is a no-brainer, right? Donald Trump has been the opposite of loyal to Michael Flynn. Trump just isn't a loyal guy to anybody but himself and sometimes to his immediate family. And in these situations, it's often the cover-up that gets you rather than the original crime, or sometimes it's not even a crime. Sometimes you start with a misdeed or something that is odd or less than ideal and not a crime, but it's the cover-up or the lying to investigators that ultimately takes you down. And Flynn's position is one that he could know where the bodies are buried, proverbially. I think I'm speaking proverbially, but one never knows. And to me, this is way more interesting than Paul Manafort's possible cooperation, because Paul Manafort was Trump's campaign chairman manager before Donald Trump was elected. Michael Flynn worked in the White House. Michael Flynn worked for the current administration and realistically might know about criminal acts that might have been committed by everyone from Trump and Pence to Kushner. And that, to me, is still one of the most interesting questions. How much did Mike Pence know, and when did Pence know it? Because in the back of his mind, if you're Pence, you must be thinking, we've got an opportunity maybe to be president of the United States here if Donald Trump is impeached or resigns. If Pence is actually separate from whatever Trump-Russia stuff took place. If Pence is complicit in it or knew about it or participated in the cover-up of it, he may go down if and when Trump ultimately goes down. And I just want to remind everybody, very interesting little detail. President Obama told Donald Trump not to hire Michael Flynn. And Trump hired Michael Flynn, and it may ultimately be Michael Flynn that brings the Trump house of cards crashing down. And that's not a detail we should forget, because Trump's MO the entire time that he has been president has been undo or ignore or go against anything that President Obama did. And it's very funny and probably sad in some way. Interesting, nonetheless, that following President Obama's advice, at least when it came to Michael Flynn, could have reduced the amount of risk to Trump and his administration pretty significantly. We'll see. We'll continue to follow it.
The video you just watched was made possible by support from you. Please go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show. You can make a pledge of as little as $1 per month. And every dollar helps to support the work that we're doing, particularly in light of the YouTube ad boycott, which has been really bad.